About 8 months after Volo's release, Jamie Boy here in Wizards of the Coast came out with Planeshift, a manga het. From the supplement, we get one of the most forgotten about race options in D&D, the Naga. Maybe this is why Wizards of the Coast hasn't put out any other Yuan-Ti race options. Roll a d20 and add your proficiency, then smack that subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss a video. Anyway, here's the content. In conception, the Naga are a very unique race, focusing on both mind and body. Naga believe in a principle called the Sweetest Harmony, which describes a perfect balance between the body and the mind. When you boil it down and get to the mechanics of them, they are so much more focused on strength and constitution than a balance between body and mind. Even in the supplement, there's one paragraph about how Sweetest Harmony is a sure path to glory, and either one without the other would be diminished and useless. But by the end of the next paragraph it says, but in practice, as much as they strive for balance and harmony, most Naga identify more strongly with one god than the other. It's clear that you can just disregard this whole Sweetest Harmony thing and become a beefy stab boy. Naga no common and Naga innately. Naga as a language, while at first seems weird, is actually really useful. Your character can teach the party some easy phrases in Naga to use in combat, so that enemies can't understand them. What are the chances the goblins work under a snake hole? Naga become full grown in their late teens, but after that show no signs of aging. They can seemingly live past a century. Nagas stand about 5 feet tall when upright, but the total length of their bodies head to tail ranges from 10 to as much as 20 feet. Your size is medium. For the most part, this makes sense. It's not like you can stand on the tip of your tail, so most of the time you'd be about 5 to 6 feet tall. But when someone tries to grapple you, why can't you just use your tail to grapple them while they're grappling you? I mean, like, I get it, you're not a large size, but like, come on. Also, if Naga had the same ratio of weight to length as actual snakes, then even a Naga at the full 20-foot length would only weigh about 300 to 400 pounds. That's on the high end of medium, but it's not unreasonable. What is unreasonable is when you start getting into the idea of how a Naga could ride a mount. A coiled 15-foot python looks like this. And now at least double the thickness of this and you get a Naga. You take up so much room on a mount, or even a cart, you'd have to coil around it, which actually sounds pretty dope for a cavalier. But that's gonna have to be some high level animal handling checks. Even a giant eagle with seemingly little interaction with snakes, you know, due to its size, still isn't going to be happy with something slithering all around it, let alone a creature that has encountered snakes before. In my opinion, that's actually one of the appeals of playing a creature that others view instinctively as a threat. And I'm not gonna mince words. Having to overcome discrimination as a plot hook is overdone, and in some cases really offensive, but it's an effective tool in making your party actively defend and value each other. Regardless to whether or not you homebrew rules about your tail, rules as written, your size is medium and you have a 30-foot movement speed. But as a bonus action on your turn, if you have both hands free, you can increase your walking speed by 5 feet until the end of your turn by lowering your body to the ground and propelling yourself with your arms. I don't think Wizards of the Coast knows how snakes work. They can slither faster if they so please. Also 5 feet? Come on, if you're gonna make me drop my weapons, couldn't it be 10 feet? Thankfully, it lasts the end of your turn, so if you take the dash action, that extra 5 feet is applied twice. So that's great. Whoopee. Watch out, monk, coming for you. If you are making a speed-focused character like an elk totem barbarian, this could be useful, but also you could just use a wood elf and get better results. Having that option is nice, you know, because like Naga are really cool, but in actuality there isn't really much to that feature. Like their Yuan-Ti brothers from another snake-themed cult's Bloody Mother, their alignment is mostly either neutral or neutral evil. Naga also have poison immunity, proficiency with the Poisoner's Kit, as well as a natural bite attack that can inflict poison damage. These are some toxic people. Playing a poison-based eccentric alchemist would be fun, especially if they add better poison rules and Tasha's Cauldron of everything. But the coolest feature of the Naga are that they have 2 natural weapons. They have a Feigned Maw that they can make unarmed strike with, on a hit dealing 1d4 plus strength piercing damage, and if the target fails a con save, they take 1d4 poison damage. Oddly enough, it seems that this poison damage isn't something that does reoccurring damage, nor rules as written does say that it can be applied to weapons. Saying that, there is a sentence that says, they make an extensive use of poison, coating their weapons with multiple layers of deadly substances, including but by no means limited to their own venom. So at the very least, this implies that during downtime, you can use your poisoner's kit to milk some of your own venom, then it can be applied to your weapon. I suppose this would deal around 1d4 damage, but maybe it's really gelatinous and doesn't need to be reapplied after one strike, or is concentrated so it does 1d8 damage to make up for the lack of actual poisoning. The other natural weapon the Naga has is a constricting attack that does 1d6 plus strength bludgeoning damage if it hits, and the target is grappled. On the grappled creature's turn, they can attempt to make an escape DC 8 plus your proficiency plus your strength. This is such a cool idea, but it's lacking one really important thing: reach. You have a 10 to 20 foot body. Why can't you grapple something that's further away, especially because you're not using your arms? Also, the damage isn't great. Past level 4 or 5, it'll become more of a help action than a threatening attack. But to be able to not have to do a grapple check against your opponent, but instead make an unarmed strike against their AC is great. You get to add your strength to hit, or depending on your DM, your dex. So no matter what, it's more likely for you to be able to grapple your target, especially with a non-strength build against a strength-based enemy. It's pretty cinematic if as a last resort, your Naga sorcerer rushes the boss and actually is able to grapple them. Even if it's just for one turn, the rest of your party suits up, goes to the hidden valley, and stabs the shit out of them, Caesar salad style. And there's nothing overpowered with that. They still need to beat their AC. It just makes that player not feel so restricted. I hear all the time about my DM thinks blank are overpowered. It just makes the players not feel so constricted. Snake puns. A lot of that comes down to wanting your game to be balanced and to give your players the illusion of fairness. You don't have to worry about that when it comes to the Naga though. Just make sure you show your DM the stats of it and you'll be good. Seriously, it's just like they have their original concept because it was way too strong. Double the distance they can move as a bonus action, double the poison damage, and give them a reach with their tail, and you're looking at a mechanically supreme option. Do I think the Naga should have all these things? No. It's way more likely to be played by Joe Schmo, and who gives a damn if Joe doesn't need to tell their player, hey, I don't want you to be charming people every time any kind of conflict comes up. At least rules is written, there's no worry about whether or not this weird race option you've never heard of before is going to break your campaign. Escaping a grapple is easy for most close combat enemies. If they're confident enough to be close enough to be grappled, they're also probably strong enough to get out of that grapple. As a final note, adding Naga into your game can seem daunting, but it really isn't. Have your party encounter a snake hole in the jungle or deep in the forest. If you don't want to adjust your campaign to fit the Naga as even a rare enemy, have your new Naga party member drop out of a portal next to the party. They could have been the leader of a cult who tore a rift in space. Once they went through, the portal closed behind them, leaving themselves by their lonesome. Or maybe they were about to be killed and prayed to their respective god, and in a moment of benevolence, said god chose to plane shift them into your world. By the 9 hells, they could just be migrants fresh off the boat. My point is, Naga are criminally underplayed, solely because no one knows you can play as one. I hope you enjoyed this, or at least learned something.